Welcome to Birthing Purpose with Lana. We have Ronnie Holman. He is a playwright, author, journalist, and educator. He is the writer, director, and producer of the stage plays When the Lights Go Out, Mama, Why Me, The Messy Church, When We Say I Do, and A Little Peace of Mind. He's also known for his journalism and his book, hashtag Alana, that's getting ready to drop soon. He's a bad dude. How you doing, Ronnie?
I'm good, Lana. How are you?
Good. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for having
You
me. I
fit me
appreciate
in
it.
your busy schedule.
Oh man, it ain't like that.
Well, it's a little less busy, right? With this whole social
Exactly.
distancing.
Social distancing got us, kind of laid back a little bit. So, but it's just enabling me to do some writing. So, it's pretty good.
Good. Let me see your t-shirt, because I can't see a t-shirt. What does it say?
T-shirt. It's just my company.
Okay.
That's
Pure
all.
Productions.
Just a little bit of branding.
A little bit of Brandon. That's right. Okay. I
Yeah,
want them to see it.
I got you.
So let's talk about your journey to birthing Pure Productions.
Well, when I was in college, to obtain my bachelor's degree in journalism and promotional communication, I had to take some theater classes and some film writing classes and things like that. And one of my professors for one of my classes is a professional actor and writer. He's also a journalist too. And it just actually came to me, and I said, let me write a play and see how it turns out. So I wrote the play, and I gave it to him, and he looked at it, and he said, I'll read this and I'll get it back to you. And he gave that script back to me, red everywhere. Just the red, he used the red pen all over. Oh, this isn't right. You got to do this. You got to do that. So he kind of helped me facilitate what it was that I was trying to do as far as writing plays. And once he gave me the thumbs up, I said, I'm going to do this to see what happens. And I did it, and the rest is history.
Right.
But it's always been in me. It's always been in me simply because my mom writes plays on a local level, at our home church and things like that. So it's always been in me. So I knew I had it, and I'm just trying to take it to another level.
And yes, it definitely was in you. So who do you give credit for impregnating you with this vision or your purpose?
Well, of course, God, that's number one and foremost, but honestly, other than him, nobody. My inspiration is my story, and that's it. The things that I went through, growing up, things like that, it inspired me to do the things that I'm doing today.
Mhm. So let's talk a little bit about gender reveal.
Mm-hmm.
For people who struggle with identifying their purpose, I tell them to ask themselves the following questions. What is the theme of your life? What do you do well with the least amount of effort? What do people compliment you for? What are you passionate about? What population do you want to affect? What problem do you want to solve? And can your theme, gifts, and passions all be merged to birth your purpose? So, was writing a theme of your life? Like, did you love to write as a child? Uh, was that a passion you had, or it was something that just kind of developed? Was it a population you wanted to solve? I mean, to population that you wanted to affect, or a problem you wanted to solve in your writing? Talk to me about how you decided.
Well, the writing actually, because I've always been an artsy person, like
Okay.
drawing, painting, designing things. That's just always been me.
Mm-hmm.
And writing kind of falls into that category. And one day I wrote a letter to my mom,
Okay.
And it's ironic, the letter that I wrote was to my mom for Mother's Day, and tomorrow is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy
To
Mother, thank you. Happy
you
Mother's
and
Day,
all
all
the
the
other
moms
mothers.
out there.
So I wrote a letter to my mother, and I read it at church. She just so happened not to be at church that Sunday because she had to sing at another church. And the letter came out, somebody else read the letter, and it came out flawless. Like the writing and all that was like excellent. And afterwards, so many people came up to me and said, I can't believe that you were able to write like that. And I didn't know you wrote like that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I didn't either. You know, I just wrote what was on my heart and expressed it on paper. And then from there, you know, I felt that I was able to write, and I used to write little, you know, love letters, and I tried to make the love letters special, you know, to the girls that I was writing them to. So I was trying to use my words, but I couldn't really
Yeah.
use my words in the way that so many other people can. So I was just talking and speaking from my heart, and that's when I knew that I was a writer. But once I got to college, though, my first class was an English class, and it was so many great writers in there, and I'm just listening to these people speak, and the way they speak, the way they're putting words together, metaphors, and this, that, and the other, and I was intimidated. You know, I was like, I
Well,
can't.
we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
So we go over pregnancy confirmation. So to me, your confirmation came from people saying, this is good. I didn't know that you could write like that.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
so there's the conception, God gives it to you. There's the confirmation, the people tell you, hey, this is really good. And then we get into the attitude, the pregnancy attitude, because now, like you say, you started to feel some intimidation.
Right.
And there are different types of pregnancy attitude. There's intimidation. Some people, when they're pregnant with what God calls them to do, they're happy about it, and then others aren't. They run from their calling. There is, like you said, the fear. It could be bad timing for some people. There's all different types of attitudes. So let's get into how you felt that intimidation.
Well, the intimidation part was just me me feeling like that I couldn't write the way that they wrote, and I just knew that I was going to fail in this class,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and until we, you know, had to write our first paper. We wrote our first paper, and again, I'll say this again, it was from my heart, and the paper came out great, and I got a B- on my paper, and all those people I were looking at like, man, I wish I could write like them. You know, they were crying like, oh my God, I got a D, or I got an F. And I'm sitting there
Wow.
looking like, wow, really? Like, oh wow, I can do this. You know, I'm like,
Right.
I can do this.
Yes.
And from there, it just took off. It really did. It just took off. And I really just used as motivation to, like I said, my story, the things that happened to me at a young age, in my very own church, my home church. There were adults that were telling me that I wasn't going to ever be anything, and I wasn't anything, and I need to be like some of the other young men and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand why, but you know, I like to laugh. I'm a silly person. I'm a clown,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and because of that,
Mm-hmm.
they you know, pinned me to that and told me that I wasn't going to be anything. So it was just motivation,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with my writing.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about prenatal vitamins, because I equate that motivation, things that encourage us, build up our spirit, make sure that the baby is developing well, or what God has called us to do. You know, we nourish our spirits to be able to do it. And some people use scriptures, songs to motivate them, motivational videos, books, or other encouraging people. So when you had all these people coming to you, the naysayers, what did you do to encourage yourself?
Oh, wow. It was hard. It was very hard,
Mm.
because being as young as I was, you know, I didn't know what to do. You
Mm.
know, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to or anything like that. I just didn't know. So I kind of got immune to it. And I was just like, oh, that's what they say about me. But I was so determined. I'm going to show them that I'm going to be great at everything that I do. And I'm going to be better than everybody that they think I'm not better than, that they're telling me to be like. I'm going to be better.
Mm.
So it just pushed me to do better, to stay on the right track. And through it all, you know, I stayed faithful. Like I said, with God, I stayed faithful, you know, and trusted in him that he was going to guide me through the whole process, you know, and he
Yeah.
did. He
Let's
did.
talk about that. Let's talk about that. Those God appointments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when a woman is pregnant, she has to make those those doctor appointments to make sure that the baby is growing well. You know, he's there to answer any of her questions, address any of her concerns, and give her instructions as well. So a lot of people, their God appointments may look like prayer, praise and worship, Bible study, church. Some may even journal. So what do your God appointments look like? Because I know you had to really pull on him to see you through.
Mm-hmm. Prayer, praise and worship, church, you know, those were the things that did it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am a professional musician. I'm a drummer.
We forgot
So,
to mention that. See, I told you he was a bad dude.
oh yeah. So I've always been in church, always having to be at church. And to be honest with you, you know, being in church was my comfort. Although it was a lot of bad things happening to me there,
Yes.
it was my comfort, because that was my peace, to be able to get on the drums and play and do something that I love to do. So I credit that my journey to being able to play the drums, because it was therapeutic for me, you know,
Awesome.
and it helped guide me through, you know, it really did. But also prayer, and just being a drummer, doing praise and worship and things like that, it just really it helped me, and it pushed me through.
Good. Let's talk about restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
Pregnant women cannot do some things. They cannot do drugs and alcohol and, you know, ride roller coasters, maybe lift heavy items. These things may cause them to maybe abort the baby. So when we're striving towards the goal, there's some things that we may have to cut out of our lives so that we don't abort our purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the things that you had to cut out of your life? For example, drugs, alcohol, some activities, bad habits, maybe some people, places you couldn't go, maybe some thinking patterns, social media. What are some of the restrictions you put on yourself to say, I'm shutting this down so I can do what God has called me to do?
Oh wow. Well, I mean, where I come from, growing up in the inner city,
Mm-hmm.
bad, very bad. I had a lot of friends that I grew up with, you know, and being an athlete of several different sports and things like that, you know, I had to be a little different from them. You know, not saying that they were bad or anything like that, but a lot of them didn't do the things that I did, which was always going to church, you
Right.
know, being at Bible study, having to be at Sunday school Sunday morning, morning service, and then afternoon service, you know.
Right.
So just all the time being spent at church, you know, I realized that I had to be different and couldn't do the things that, you know, everybody else was doing, you
Right.
know. And although I did have some friends in church,
Mm-hmm.
you know, who backslid and went to the streets, I did want to do some of the same things that they did. And I was very, I would say I was very, very tempted to do some of the things they did. But in that process, I realized I had to stay focused and stay on track. And in order for me to stay focused and stay on track, I knew that I was different. So
Right.
in order for me to do that, I had to kind of like, you know, like let them do their thing and not follow them. And I knew I had to become a leader, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and just stand out from the crowd,
And
you
go
know.
find the eagles and go fly with the eagles and lead the chickens to cluck.
Absolutely. You know, my philosophy is, you know, all the time, you know, when you have a group of people, standing in a group of people, you have to kind of like look through and all that to try to see who stands out in that group, you know. But if you're over here by yourself, they're gonna automatically notice you over there because you're standing by yourself.
You're
They'll
standing
see the group, but they will definitely see you probably first.
because you're
You know,
different.
so yeah, I tried to be that person
Yes.
that away from the group and stand by myself.
Excellent. Lamaze class. Some women go to Lamaze to get educated about how to deliver this baby. So what form of education did you have in order to birth your purpose?
Again, I attended Cleveland State University, where I received my bachelor's degree in journalism and promotional communication. So it taught me how to write. It taught me how to write and write the correct way. And it also put me in touch with some people who are in the industry as far as what it is that I do, who gave me direction, who gave me some encouragement, and who basically pushed me, you know, to write the way that I do. I choose to write from real life experiences uh, and create stories from real life experiences, not necessarily my real life experiences, but just things that I know that we deal with in a day to day through our society. So that's how I write, and I understand that people can relate to those things a lot more than somebody making up a fairy tale.
Right. Mm-hmm. So the School of Hard Knocks, you went there too?
School of Hard Knocks.
Did you go there? Did you go there?
Absolutely. You know, growing up in the hood, you know, it definitely taught me.
Alice, School of
Taught
Hard
me a lot.
Knocks.
Yeah.
Did you do any shadowing, any interning, volunteering, or anything like that?
Yes, actually I did. I did do some internships. I wrote for the largest magazine here in Ohio, the largest magazine in Ohio. I wrote for them for 2 years. Also, our largest newspaper in Ohio, Cleveland.com, who I'm currently am a contributing writer to them. So I did some stuff with them as well. I did some virtual writing for a virtual magazine based out of Atlanta, Georgia. So yeah, I did some interning and shadowing and things like that. That was just, you know, that's just the
Good.
things that I did.
Yes, yes. Let's talk about the nursery. Putting on these productions, you need a lot. Funding, equipment, supplies.
Mm-hmm.
Some other examples of nursery, you know, members, employees, marketing. For someone who wants to do what it is that you do, what do they need for their nursery? What did you need to birth your purpose and get these stage productions in motion?
Well, for me, what I needed, definitely funding, but my production company is a nonprofit 501c3 company. So my funding should come from grants and things like that from the government, but right now we don't receive any of that. So everything is spent out of personal pocket. Uh, but that's because this is my baby, you know, and if it takes that, then that's what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
But the marketing and all that type of stuff, everything is, like I said, spent out of personal pocket and things like that. So I say to other people who are watching and listening, the things that you do need sources. You do need resources to get done what you need to do, and especially to do it on a large scale. Um, um, like I do my productions, I love to reach a large mass of people. So I try to do my productions on a large scale like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to say that you don't need funding. You do need funding. You do need resources and things like that, because nobody wants to continue, especially when you're a nonprofit organization. You don't want to continue spending money and things out of your own pocket. You don't want to do that. So if you can get grants and things like that and donations, get those things. I'm still to this day trying to receive donations and sponsorships and things like that. I will say that it's hard, but you definitely have to have the drive. You have to have the mindset for it. And you definitely have to have a vision for it as well.
So how do you go about getting those funds? Do you have a GoFundMe page for the donations you're trying to get, or how do you go about trying to get the donations?
Well, no, I don't have a GoFundMe page. When that whole GoFundMe thing hit, everybody was kind of doing it. I even thought about it too, and I tried it one time. But I thought to myself, honestly, I said, how can I ask people to give me money for me to put a product out for them and then charge them to come see it? I didn't want to do that.
That's a
So
point.
so I said, I don't want to ask them for money through GoFundMe. And then on top of that, it was so many people scheming and scamming through
Yeah.
GoFundMe. I didn't want to be related to that in any kind of way. So, so what I do is I reach out to companies sometime and send letters and things like that to ask them to be a sponsor. And there are perks for them to be a sponsor. They get a certain amount of tickets to the shows. They become a part of my branding and things like that. When I'm marketing and promoting the show, they go up on the website, T-shirts, flyers, posters, all those different things.
So are there grants out there for what you do?
I've heard that there are tons of grants. I have yet.
You need a grant writer.
Exactly.
I got one for you. I'm getting ready to interview him. Mm-hmm. He is the owner of Grant USA. I'll be interviewing him on Monday.
Oh wow! See,
so I'm gonna connect you with him. He's out of California, but he works all over. He works with everyone all over, and so I'm going. His name is Rodney.
Oh, wow! Okay. That's a connection.
There it is. So I'm gonna hook you up with him because that's what he does. Grant USA. So stay tuned for that interview.
And that's the crazy part, because I've been looking and searching like grant writers.
Really?
Yeah, but you know the thing that I found out, that so many people who do have grant writers and things like that, they hold them close to their chest. They don't want you
to have
get the same resources that they have, and people will not help you as far as that.
Wow, I got you. I'm gonna hook you over him. He'll be so happy because he loves referrals. Who doesn't want referrals?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about prioritizing, because you do a lot. You wear a lot of hats. How do you balance work, time with God, your personal time, journaling, you're a musician, you're an author, practice for the plays. I mean, you're a dad. I mean, so much going on. How do you avoid overloaded schedules so you can get proper rest, so you can avoid fatigue and burnout? How do you do it?
Well, for me, it's kind of impossible to avoid, the overload. Is it? Yeah, it's the way I see it is you have 7 days a week.
Okay.
And 24 hours in each day. So, blocking out your schedule, for you to be able to do this between this time and this time, working a job 8 to 5, I'm just saying that's a typical work day. Working a job 8 to 5, maybe find some time during that time that you're working to kind of work on some things. My computer stays with me. My computer goes with me everywhere I go. So if I ever need to pull it out, start writing something, that's what I do. So it's always with me. Then when I get off work, that time in between, I do have time where I'm not at the church playing the drums. So those are the days that I use to do some more writing. But in the midst of all that, I'm still, as you mentioned, I'm still a dad. So I'm in constant contact with my children. I even have a college child. and even helping her, make sure she stays on track with college and things like that. So in the midst of that, doing that, and then just having some productive people around me to kind of help me as well. So I would dare not say that it's just everything is just me. I do a lot, but I do have people in my corner, to help guide me and kind of keep me balanced a little bit. But and I'll say this lastly, there's always, I never have to make time for God. Never. He's always, no matter what I'm doing, it only takes a moment, a second for you to say, thank you, Jesus, or Father, guide me, or whatever the case is. So he should always be with you every moment, every step. It shouldn't be, oh, I got to set this particular time up over here where because this is the only time I could talk to God. Should you have some time where it's just you and God and nothing else? Absolutely. But for me, he's with me all day, every day.
Right. I liked how you talked about delegating, because we cannot do everything. We're not super heroes. I mean, we can't do everything. We do need help. We're put here on this earth for relationships. Absolutely. And we need each other. So it doesn't seem like your overloaded schedule has burnt you out. Everybody can, you got to know what you can handle. Some people can handle a schedule like that and be very productive, and others they can't. So I guess you have to know your threshold.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. With me, I'm actually looking for more. I'm looking for more. See, it's almost like you have a whole bunch of stuff in your hand, and you're using everything in your hand right now, but you're using everything in your hand to get to this one thing over here. So once all the things that I'm doing, once I use all those things to get to this one thing over here, then I won't have everything in my hand. I'll have just that one thing in my hand. And that's what I'm striving to do. I'm trying to get to one goal, one purpose, by using a whole bunch of other things.
Awesome. Let's talk about labor pains, those contractions.
Oh, yeah.
Right before it's time for the play to be released, the production to begin. What are some of the labor pains you experience, the roadblocks, any temptations, negative people, whatever? It rained that day. I don't know, they closed the city down. Lights went out at the theater. Returned all the tickets. No, I'm just like, what are some of the labor pains you may have experienced in birthing your purpose?
Contractions and labor pains. Wow.
Let's go back to the first, when the lights go out.
When the lights go out.
Right before that was your first baby.
The thing is, I was nervous, of course, because it was my first production. I had never done anything like this. So I knew and understand what it was that I wanted, but I didn't really know how to go about getting it. And I reached out to some people, within the city, within Cleveland, who was already doing what it was that I was trying to do. So I reached out to them to try to get some knowledge and things on how to do, just some guidance. And one of the persons, really, hated on me, if I could say. They hated on me and didn't want to help, and
the lack of support.
Exactly. But you know what? That was more motivation right there to motivate me to still be great at what it was that I was doing. And needless to say, that person was at the production. He did come to the production.
Hey, that's okay.
Right. He came to the production because he wanted to see what it was that I was doing. He wanted to see what it was that I was doing. So though that whole thing of not knowing what to expect of by being my very first production was very, very, very nerve-wracking, and then
unknown.
Yeah, and then dealing with a bunch of people, a group of people who are professionals, actors and things like that, and me being able to stand out in front of them and direct them and lead them, and them trust my vision and believe in my vision.
And not try to change it and do their own thing.
Absolutely. And I did get some of that. I did get some pushback and things like that, because people will try to birth their purpose
Through yours.
in your purpose. So I definitely.
And it's okay if you want that, and if you allow that, let's get permission.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that too, because that's like,
right.
You inspire somebody else to be great.
Yes. Yes.
But it's just like, right now, this is what we're doing. Let's focus on this.
And then we'll get,
Yeah. So it was very, very tough. And I realized for the first time in my life, even as a grown adult male, that when you are trying to do something productive and you're trying to do what you're doing for God, that this is when all the chaos and stuff come in.
Oh yeah.
I didn't understand. I was like, well, why? I've never had.
He's trying to abort it. He's trying to shut it down. He does not want you to be successful.
Absolutely. And I kept saying, I said, I've never had this in my life like this. And I said, where's this all coming from? And some people were telling me, like, whenever you're doing something for God, the devil will always try to send a distraction or try to send something to kind of, rattle you or destroy what it is that you have.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, then you're not doing the right thing. And so now I kind of welcome it and I understand it. If I don't receive it, I'm like, maybe I'm not doing it
right. Well, the Bible says that. Woe to those if everyone likes you and is kind to you. Look out. So when our people say, oh, everybody likes me, I'm cool with every. Ooh.
Yeah.
That scripture, something's off. Because if you're really doing what God wants you to do, they hated Jesus. How everybody like you?
Exactly.
How is that?
Who are you that
everybody like you, and they hated Jesus, the Savior? What?
Absolutely, you're right. But
yeah, the higher you go up, the higher the level, the bigger the devil.
And I kept, that was the first time I heard that saying too. The higher the level, the bigger the devil. And I just kept saying, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Right.
So yeah, it was very tough. It's still tough to this day.
Yeah.
But it has made me stronger. It has made me a stronger leader and a better leader. It has made me a stronger and better writer. And I thank God, for giving me not giving me, but allowing those bad moments to be able to come in my life, because it is helping to mold me.
Yes, that refiner's fire.
Absolutely.
That fire that makes gold. We need that. So we've been made into gold, right? With all that fire.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about postpartum depression. Some women experience this after they have a baby.
Yeah.
Or maybe unrealistic expectations, hormonal, mental, hormonal. There's a greater cost than they expected. Maybe the baby keeps them up all night, taxing on their pockets, have to spend a little bit more than I thought. Slow development. Some people's baby comes out with a disability. And so the baby doesn't develop like other children. So with your purpose, it could be the same thing. So after you started to do the plays, did you experience any sort of postpartum depression?
Absolutely. Quite a bit, quite a bit. Just me not knowing, again, what to expect. Things, if I could say, things that make me laugh may not make you laugh, and when I write something because I want to pull from the audience. I want to pull a specific emotion.
Right.
And because it makes me feel like a certain way, that doesn't mean that it's going to make you feel that way. So just not knowing, how the audience will react to this particular thing. Are they going to feel the same thing that I'm feeling? And I will say I've been blessed thus far. Pretty much 95% of the emotions that I write in my production, I receive those emotions back. You know, one of the biggest things is to have a production, and you're meant for something that you wrote something because you're meant for it to have a serious meaning or a serious feeling, and somebody laughs at it. You know, that's a very, very discouraging moment. I haven't had that yet.
Okay.
You know, and I thank God for that.
So where did the depression come from then?
Well, it came from, honestly, not even the writing or the audience. It comes from the people that you work with directly. You
Yeah.
know, it's just like us, since we're speaking about, you know, pregnancy. As parents, most of our burdens and stuff, well, not burdens, but most of our headaches come from our children. You know, and they come from our children simply because we want the best for our children. We want them to succeed. We want them to be better than us. You know, it's not that we just want them to be average or anything. We want them to go above and beyond us because we love them, and we know we've been there.
Yes.
So when they don't move in the direction that we feel that they should move in, it gives us a headache. Yeah. And although we do allow our children to grow and go through some of those growing pains, it's still hurtful for us to sit and watch our children go through those things. You know, so most of the pain and stuff comes from the people that you work with. And I say that in the most respectful way as possible, not saying that any of them are bad or anything like that, but you know, people have other lives, people have other schedules, people have work, they have families and children and things like that. And you know, everybody just don't have the same energy for your stuff that you do.
Right.
You know, so just having to deal with that to try to, again, get them to buy into your vision and believe what it is that you're writing and things like that, and for them to be able to bring that to life. Right. And that's something else. I've been blessed to work with some amazing people who were able to bring every one of my stories to life.
Right. So in the situation where the baby is sick, because everybody's baby gets sick, so you have to ask yourself, what is the problem? And for you, sometimes it's getting everybody in sync, on the same page, one-minded, unified. Who caused this problem? Is this sickness self-inflicted or contagious, which means is it something that you are doing, or is it something they are doing? And what is the natural or supernatural, you might have to pull on God to fix this. So when you talk about the struggles with people, employees, what do you find is the remedy for that?
For me, absolutely is prayer. It's definitely prayer. Like I said, I grew up in the church, but once I started dealing with being a playwright, things like that, you know, I realized that prayer is the one thing that definitely helps, you know, and it helps me deal with things coming from all directions, you know. So that is definitely a remedy for me, no doubt. Along with writing, again, me playing the drums, things like that, spending time with my children, those, and just spending time with loved ones. Those are the things that are remedies for me.
For you, but what about the situation? So some people may have to go take classes on people management. Like I took a class on diplomacy and tact because I had to learn how to not just say whatever.
Yeah.
Because when you have people giving you the blues, you tend to say what, you know, so, you know, sometimes, or, you know, how do we manage people, get everybody on the same page? Some people actually have their classes for that. So what did you do to try to help you manage all these people and all their different personalities and all of that, and them trying to birth their purpose through you and on your time and without permission and all this kind of stuff? Like, how do we handle all that. We call on God and we say, Lord, help, help, help. Well, I heard everybody. But besides that, what are some practical things you've done in the past?
Well,
fire everybody. You're fired. Y'all all fired.
No, I mean, for me,
No.
for me, it's simple. You know, I treat people the way that you want to be treated.
Okay.
You know, that's honestly.
And it should rub off, right? They should get it, right?
Yeah. That's real life. You know,
they should. They don't always, but you should.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But that's the way I've been thinking.
Right.
You know, like, let me treat them the way that I want to be treated. And eventually, if you keep doing something a certain way, eventually people will get it. Right. You know, I'm not saying that I'm the best person or have been the best person, but that's what I always strive to do. You know, I always strive to treat people the way that I want to be treated. And the way I want to be treated, I want people to be honest with me, you know, about things. I want people to be honest with what it is that they're doing, what they got going on, what they think, what they feel.
So sometimes one-on-one conversations, some real heart-to-heart conversations, one-on-one with people.
Absolutely. I've had some of those.
Yeah.
And like I said, the most important thing is to just be honest with people. Yeah. Although some of those things hurt sometimes, you know, people respect you a lot more when you are honest with them.
And communicate that. And then how can you get on the same page if you're not honest? Mm-hmm. You don't have that honest communication.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about premature birth. Some people's babies are born too soon. You can step out and do things a little before time, you know, a little too soon for reasons. You're impatient. Some people have health issues, life expectancies. You know, I don't know how long I'm gonna live with this thing I have, this illness, so let me hurry up and do this. Wrong motives, pride, revenge. You know, you go start a church because pastor got on my nerves. I'm about to go start my church. You know, trying to earn God's love. If I could just do one more thing, God will love me, you know, or just lack of knowledge. You just didn't know that you shouldn't have jumped out right now. So have you ever jumped out prematurely?
I would say yes. I definitely would say yes. My second production.
Okay.
That I did, which was Mama Why Me.
Okay.
I was approached. By the way, it is an original intellectual piece, but it's based off of somebody else's story, their book, and I was approached by them to write a stage play based off their book, and I did that. They were on board. We had meetings and things like that, and they understood and knew that they were responsible for the financial part, you know, of the production. That wasn't going to come from me. So I explained to them, let's not get to a certain level. Once we get to a certain level, there's no turning back. We can't come back and say, oh, well, we can't do that, because it's already been put out there that Pure Productions, Ronnie Holman has another production coming. People are preparing themselves. And she pulled out. She pulled out after we had basically gotten to the meat of everything of what was supposed to happen. I had already put money and paid money for a casting call at a location. And she was, honestly, it seemed like she was just wanted to sell her book to everybody that came in to audition. And we had a lot of people that came in to audition. And she was asking everybody to buy her book. Nothing's wrong with that. But to me, it seemed like it was a distraction, because people coming in who she asked to buy the book may feel like, oh, well, if I buy this book, they're going to cast me. You know, and I didn't want people to feel. Yeah. So I ended up writing the story, and she bailed on me. But we were so far in the game, I was like, I have to keep going with this. I have to. So I had to make some quick adjustments by changing the name to Mama Why Me, changing some of the characters' names in it, and I still did the production. However, it just didn't feel right. It still didn't feel right, because there were so many issues with it, and it just didn't sit right in my spirit. And I battled with, should I cancel this particular production? But I was like, nah, I'm not canceling. I'm moving forward. And that ended up being probably, I think, in my opinion, probably my worst production, as far as my writing and just putting on the production period.
So it's important to really listen to the Holy Spirit, follow your discernment, right?
Yeah. You
Peace.
have to definitely be in contact.
Yeah, peace. You have peace. And the Bible talks about peace being the umpire of our soul. And when you don't have that peace, it's like, don't move forward. But a lot of times we do in hopes that it all work out. And sometimes it does.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Overdue pregnancies. Do you think there's something that you should be doing now that you just haven't done yet? Some people's babies or their purposes are not birthed because they're in a sinful situation. God's not going to bless until you move into the will a little bit more. None of us are perfect and doing everything perfectly, but that could hinder some things from happening in your life. Some people have fear, or they're just lazy, or around negative people discouraging them. There's lack of funding, lack of exposure, they live in the wrong location, or just despising small beginnings. I'm not going to step out until this thing is big. When the Bible talks about, don't despise small beginnings. So is there something that you still need to, that you feel like is overdue?
Well, those two things that's on the list, the lack of funding and the lack of exposure. I definitely feel that at this point, I should probably have funding, for my productions, but I don't. And the lack of exposure, I think that because of that, it's hindering my exposure. Because I really truly believe that if I took each one of my plays on the road, I know and I truly believe that I would definitely get the response, that Cleveland gives. I definitely would get that response. But because of the funding,
So you're overdue for the grant writer. You're overdue for the grant writer. Oh wow! Yes.
So yeah, I'm really looking for that funding and exposure. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Red flags. So I tell people, if your purpose has you neglect, disobey, or denounce God, that might not be the purpose. And that's not just with businesses. That could be taking a job. That could even be relationships. If this thing you're doing neglects, disobey, or denounce God, is that your purpose? You got to ask yourself. Right. Does your purpose have you neglect yourself? That's a red flag. Does your purpose have you neglect your immediate family? Because we know that family's first, right? God, family. If your purpose has you neglect your other purpose, so you've got all these purposes, and that's possible. People have twins, triplets, quintuplets, whatever, but they shouldn't be battling. Everything should be working cohesively. So if you are no longer interested in your so-called purpose, that's a red flag. If your purpose is illegal, immoral, or unethical, not sure God told you to do that either. If your purpose changes your character from the way of love. Now you're all big and high mighty, you looking down on people, now that you're doing this that God has called you to do. So these are some red flags, not to say that if you have any of this going on, what you're doing is not purpose, but maybe the way you're doing it. Maybe the way you're going about it needs to be adjusted so that you can do your purpose the way God has called you to do. So yeah, maybe you are supposed to have the law firm, but maybe you need to stop cheating on the taxes, ripping off people, billing them for hours that they, you didn't work. You're doing things a little immoral and unethical, but not to say that the law firm or you being an attorney or whatever is not your purpose. But these are just red flags, you know. Yeah, you're in this relationship, but you're doing some things. We know how these relationships are supposed to go. We know how God say they're supposed to go. And you just, not saying you can't be with this person, but the way you're doing it is a little wrong, you know. So these are just some red flags. Have you ever experienced anything that you were doing concerning your purpose where you had to pull back and say, wait a minute, I need to switch the way I'm doing this thing?
Definitely. Definitely. You know, as you said, some of the things that you do can hinder you, can hold you back from your purpose, you know. And I remember Lamero telling me one day that you have to trust, you know, he said you have to trust God, even though it may be fearful. You may be fearful of the outcome and things like that. But if you say you trust God, you have to trust him, you know. And he put some things in perspective for me when he told me that. And you do, depending on what you do, especially if you're not doing the right thing, you can be, let's say you could be at a level of greatness, but you could be at an even greater level if you do right over
Right,
here.
exactly.
Get that thing
And
out of
that's
your
where people get messed up at, because they're like, well, I'm doing fine. I got money. I've got this, I've got that. But how much more could you have if you did the thing the way God told you? That's good. That's good. Lamero, who's Lamero? Shout out to Lamero. That's another amazing writer, film, producer, director, referee, barber. He a bad dude too. He doing his thing, right? Oh yeah. That's a good guy to listen to.
And that's why. And
he got a little wisdom, Lamero.
That's one of the people. That's one of the people, you know, who gives me wisdom and advice and encouragement and things like that too. You know, so that's definitely a good person to have in my corner when it comes to writing and producing productions and things like that, because he definitely does the same thing, and he does wear a lot of hats as well. So you know, we kind of relate a little bit as far as
everything,
right? But yeah, so if I could say this real quick, you know, I had a situation where somebody told me before with one of my productions that I couldn't be so personable, you know, with my cast. I couldn't let people have access to me as easily, you know, and I felt that they were trying to change me in a way.
Move you from the way of love is what it sounds like to me.
Right, right, exactly.
From the way of love.
Right, because
Make an appointment.
I was explaining to them like, this is me. You know, I love people. I'm cool. I'm down to earth. You know, I'm not no uppity person, or just because I'm doing this and do I like things done decently and in order, and do I like things professionally done and all that? Yes, absolutely. But I'm still the same person. You know, I'm still down to earth, and I think they were trying to remove me from that, and they wanted me to treat people in a certain way, not really talk to them, or, you know, because after some rehearsals, sometimes people approach me and talk to me, you know, about one thing or the other and have questions.
Yeah.
And they were saying like, nah, you should let them, as you just said, make an appointment, come to your office to talk to you. This ain't the time. And I was like, and I battled with it.
No peace.
Yeah, I battled with that thing, and I was just like, no, I'm not changing. You're not going to change me and suggest that I change. I'm going to continue to be who I am, because that's what makes me unique.
Yeah. It's you know, you got a lot of churches like that where you can't touch the pastor, can't talk to him. He got all the bodyguards around him. You're like,
oh man.
Oh, come on. Where's the love at? Oh
right.
My goodness.
Right.
Oh.
Shout out to my pastor, by the way, Pastor Larry Harris, my Olive Baptist Church.
All right.
He is not like that. One
good.
Of the coolest people I ever want to meet, down to earth.
Awesome. During the wait. So I tell people who are still struggling to figure out what it is that God wants them to do. Stay in God's presence. Do what is right in the sight of the Lord. Walk in the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, self-control. Share the gospel, save souls. Share your testimonies, encourage other people. Spread the knowledge about whatever you know. That's, positive information. Be grateful, stop complaining, make no comparisons. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. This is your journey. It's personal between you and the Lord. And so I believe with all my heart that if you do these things, you will, this is purpose too. You'll be in a greater level of purpose, I guess. You'll know what you're supposed to do. If you do these things, you stay connected to God, you love other people, you encourage other people, you will find your purpose. And this is purpose. And a lot of people want to do all this other stuff, but they don't want to do Christianity 101. That's what this is. That's just the basics. Love people. It's just the basics.
Yep.
When you agree?
I definitely agree. And, the biggest thing is, one of the things that I battled with was comparison, trying to compare myself to what other people were doing and things like that.
It's easy to do that.
Yeah. And I still find myself sometimes doing it. And a lot of things we say, oh, it's not a competition, but then it kind of is a competition. But at the same time, you definitely have to stay focused on your purpose and your calling, and you can't worry about somebody else's purpose and their calling. So battling with that was definitely, and it still is a battle. Yeah. It's not as bad as it was, but it's still a battle for me.
I think for what it is you do, there's so many people out there. Like for what you all do, everybody will come to your play, this play, watch this movie, watch that movie, read this book and that book. And that. Like, it's not like I gotta compete so that everybody will come to just my plays. Like they'll go to all the plays, they'll go to all the movies, they'll read all the books if it's good. So it's just about making sure whatever you do is good. I don't care what you're doing, just as long as what I'm doing is good. Because if it's good, they're coming.
Mm-hmm.
You
and
know,
just do your part.
Yeah.
To stand out with what it is that you do.
That's it. You don't got to worry about what they're doing. Yeah. It's enough for everybody. It's enough people out there to experience what it is that you do. And for people who are out of the will, maybe doing something that's not even their purpose. Mm-hmm. God is an amazing GPS. He's an awesome positioning system. He will reroute you. His grace and mercy will get you right back on track because he loves you. He put the purpose in you. He wants it to happen more than you do. So why would he not help you? Why would he not give you the resources or give you whatever you need? He's there for you and he'll get you back on track. You just got to stay connected, repent. Sorry, Lord, that I've got out of your will. Sorry that I disobeyed, or whatever the case may be while you're off track. And just wake up every morning, as I do, saying, Lord, order my steps.
Yep.
What are we doing today? Order my steps. And when you surrender to him, he'll bring people to you. Mm-hmm. He'll show you what to do. You'll end up at the right place at the right time when you ask him to order your steps. So that is the key to fulfilling God's purpose in your life.
Yeah, I think we fall short of that, as far as making sure we stay in his will. We, like you said, follow God's footprints, follow his tracks. But sometimes we think our steps are bigger than his. Sometimes we think what we're doing is better than what it is that he can do for us, and we kind of forget that.
That's lack of faith.
Yeah, we forget that because we are in the flesh right now. It's because of what it is that we can see.
Right.
And we say that we believe, but it's like, do we really believe? I want to see it right now.
But we got to wake up in the morning and ask for faith too. More faith, Lord, more faith, more faith. I'm begging you, please. Be more faith
Definitely be
to do
specific.
what it is you want me to do.
Yeah, yeah, definitely be specific.
All right, let's showcase your baby. It is time. So for anybody who wants to reach Ronnie Holman, he has a website, ronnieholman.com. He's always casting, looking to do collaborations. He is on Facebook at Pure Productions, Instagram, Cleveland_Playwright. You can email him at pureproductionscle@gmail.com.
Yep.
I want to take them to, what should I take them to? Your website? Where, well, let's show off some stuff.
Go ahead.
Pure Productions, the website, which one?
Yeah, you can go to ronnielholman.com.
Okay,
website.
let's start there. Let's show them a little something, something. Let's show them. All right. Okay, that is a nice website. Here we go. Okay. Where should I take them?
You gotta look. You gotta look at oh, that's a flyer of my last production that I did. I was aiming to do my next production sometime in September, but COVID-19 said something different.
Yeah.
So
God said something different.
yeah, well, yeah.
Because he allowed it.
Absolutely.
He got a purpose in it all, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and delays are good. Delays can be good. I've learned that. Delays can be good.
And that's why I say, if people don't come out of this situation a champion, something wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. You everybody should come out.
I said, if I don't make the best of this time, it's criminal. I'm a criminal. I need a mugshot and a felony because it's crazy. I need a case. I need a I need a record. It's criminal. It's criminal if I don't do something with this time. I'm telling you. So, okay.
This production right here, Little Piece of Mind, is based off of mental illness. Again, as I said, I do productions based off of real life experiences. And it seems like there is a lot of mental illness that people are dealing with. So I definitely wanted to put this production out there. Some really great talent in this production. Shout out to you guys, but awesome talent in that production. And by the way, each one of my productions, I write and produce my own original music. Everything is original. And that was actually birthed from, my stage plays and everything, because my first play, I wrote the music to it because I didn't have a writer, so I had to hurry up and write some music, and it turned out amazing. So this, what you're seeing right now, that's me. I spoke at the Juvenile Detention Center to a group of young men, group of criminals. Well, they were criminals. That's why they were in there, for whatever it was that they did. And I had an opportunity to speak to them. It was well received. I missed them guys. I'm looking forward to getting back there soon. As you see, Christmas, we give back to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids every Christmas, Christmas toys and things like that. Thanksgiving, we give food baskets, full food baskets to tons of families in need. That was a conference that we did a skit that was based on Beauty for Ashes, a conference that Marvin Sapp was the featured speaker at. So we had an opportunity it was downtown at our Huntington Convention Center, huge place. So we had the opportunity to go down there and do a skit for that. And that was still one of the most amazing things that I saw, to look out in the audience, because of what we were putting on stage about domestic violence and things like that, to see so many women in the audience full of tears, uncontrollable, full of tears, because of the message that we were giving out. So glory to God for that.
Yes.
I love children, so as you see, I want to give kids the opportunity to have something that I didn't, have when I was younger.
Yeah.
And each year we adopt a school, and we go there and we just share Christmas with the entire school and give kids gifts. And then we become a secret Santa for an older student in high school and things like that, and pretty much get them exactly what it is that they ask for.
Shout out to Cleveland Metropolitan School District.
It is.
I know the district.
Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and the Secret Santas. Most of the older kids, they're asking for the video games, the Xboxes and the PlayStation 4s and things like that. So we have been able and blessed to give back for that. And that's me standing in front of the Youth Detention Center, foster care, holding up the foster care banner. That was in support of this young lady named Kevin E., who's a foster care advocate, because she was a foster kid, and she definitely gives a lot of hope to a lot of foster families and things like that. So you may see a lot of celebrities and stuff holding that same banner up from her, because she travels the country doing that, and we had the opportunity to hold that banner up as well.
Here's the store. If you want to support and get some funds, some funds going so you can take these plays on the road.
Absolutely.
Let's support them.
My DVDs are here. My DVDs are there from The Messy Church, Mama Why Me, and When the Lights Go Out. They are there for purchase. So I have DVDs for each one of my plays, except for the last one I did. As you can see, t-shirts, some of those t-shirts are dated though, but each one of those t-shirts represent something, that deals with the play, domestic violence and things like that. So
awesome.
Yeah. So I have a few reviews and things like that on the page, of people who came out to see the productions and things like that, and they gave some nice testimonies, things like that, videos, promo videos of people giving testimonies and things, and it's been a real blessing just to see people show love and things like that. So I really appreciate that. That's an image of me speaking at a school, of students, encouraging them. That was awesome. I enjoyed doing that as well. So those are also pictures of us filming trailers and things like that for our stage plays.
That is awesome. I want you to tell them a little bit about this baby that is coming soon.
Oh yeah.
Hashtag Ali.
Yeah, hashtag Ali. Hashtag Ali is the book, and it's the story of Aliana DeFreeze, here in Cleveland, Ohio, the young lady that was kidnapped from the public bus stop, heading to school early morning. She was kidnapped and brutally murdered. That book, I was blessed to be the author for that book. I was hired by the DeFreeze family, Damon DeFreeze, and his wife, Watanya DeFreeze, to be the author of that book. We're kind of finishing up some logistic stuff before they release the book, but I'm very excited for that opportunity, and excited about this book dropping. And just, since we're speaking about birthing and things like that, and birth pains and all that, writing this book, a lot of people don't understand that I had nightmares, for about 3 weeks straight, because I attended the trial of the man who kidnapped her and murdered her. I attended the trial, and I had to look at photos and images, of her, stuff that the public will never see, stuff that her parents didn't even see, and I had to see. And it really, 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 really put things in perspective for me. And I thank God for the opportunity. You know, the good and the bad part. And the bad part, like I said, was seeing the images and things like that. So I'm excited about that book. Just be on the lookout for that. And as soon as the family, Damon and Watanya, is ready to release it and things like that, they will release the book. But not only that one, I'm working on some other stuff, some other books. I'm working on a book now for a mother of a special needs kid of a rare disorder in Black children. I'm working on that book for her. And I'm working on a couple books of my own, of my story, and some other things that I'm doing. So
you got a lot of babies. You pregnant. You pregnant with quadruplets.
Quadruplets.
Octuplets. Just stay tuned. You've got so much to offer. And I thank you so much for sharing your journey with the viewers.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. And for those who would like to reach me, I can be reached at Instagram, Birthing Purpose with Lana. My email is birthingpurposewithlana@gmail.com, and my website is libertyinchrist.life. I do coaching and free deliverance sessions by Zoom, since we're shut down now. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. It's all free. I love being a blessing to other people. I believe if you sow into people, you will reap blessings as well. So once again, thank you for taking the time. And I look forward to all your babies coming forth and enjoying them.
I appreciate it.
I'm cheering you on from the sidelines.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
All right, you too, Lana.
Bye.